We're back from the mid-season break, and now it's time to talk about episode 9 of season 2 of the Charmed Reboot. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Turnout. I'm your host, Aloy. Don't forget to check out usaaudiences.com for special event and movie screening invites. Now, about a week ago, I had a really long discussion with Kristen Maldonado. Definitely go check out that conversation if you haven't already. But we kind of went through all of the episodes 1 through 8 of the second season, really kind of breaking them down, talking about different character arcs. And in the end, we were very happy with what we've gotten, but we feel like we could get even more. And we feel like we could get to know these characters more and that they had kind of lost themselves. I myself was really excited that they might be able to find their way back home to their original concepts. And I have to say, going into now this review for episode 9, there will be a few spoilers, I was very happy, even just from the very beginning. I feel like the first half of the season really kind of set the sisters up for them to have these kind of epiphanies within themselves. Maggie is realizing that her decisions aren't necessarily the best ones that she's making. Mel realizes she doesn't need powers to be successful or to be powerful, even though now she has power, so she kind of feels good about herself again. And Macy, I feel like she was just kind of divorced from who she was and really needed to return to that. So in the beginning scenes of episode 9, we see Maggie finding a new use for her prophetic visions. Not only can she see into the future after touching something, but she can actually kind of predict people's movements, which is amazing. That will make her probably the best offensive fighter of the group, which takes that visions and makes it not such a passive power anymore. Whoa. We see Mel is very studious again, practicing her magic, trying to make sure that she can really master this.
This power needs a cooler name than molecular manipulation. How about matter mastery?
And I'm like, oh, yuck, no. Molecular manipulation is actually a really cool name. Matter mastery that's not a good name. So don't do that. Don't make this into The Flash where you have a character who wants to name things. Although Cisco is pretty good at naming things.
30-something metahuman, not a Ninja Turtle.
How long did it take you to come up with that one?
It just came out of my mouth. Did you see that? That was amazing.
And the very first scene of Macy that we see, right after I kept having these thoughts that she's lost herself and she hasn't been herself, is her performing experiments on the Amber and trying to see if she can make a power pop up in her, because apparently she has her flame still from her demon side, but she doesn't have witch powers no matter what kind of amber or whatever she is ingesting. Now, this was also experiment 17, and she was using 2 cc's of the amber, which means I don't know if this is the highest that she's gone. I don't know if she's tried different ways of not swallowing. Maybe she's tried injecting. Maybe she's turned it into a smoke and she smoked it. Like, who knows how many other... I want to know what the 16 other experiments were. But you also immediately start seeing some tension between Macy and Harry, because the last that we saw, Macy saw Harry making out with Abigail, which, again, you weren't really returning his affection, so I don't see why you should be mad that that's happening, just saying. But Maggie ends up having a vision that they need to track down a person who has an artifact that belonged to the Dark Lighter, Dark Harry. And Macy says, well, I can't go with you because I don't want him to get into my head again. Which is a weird way to say that, because it almost makes it seem like she thinks Dark Harry was trying to trick her. But I didn't take it like that. I took it as they were really trying to make a connection, and that they did. And I feel like almost at this point she's trying to shove off her emotions for Dark Harry. She thinks she was projecting her feelings for Harry on Dark Harry. I think it's the opposite. I think that she now has feelings for Harry because she's trying to ignore her feelings for Dark Harry. I don't know. Emotions are a hard thing, but I guess we'll see what ends up happening going forward with that storyline. There's still a bunch of conflict between her and Harry, because she saw him making out and he's not really pursuing her anymore because he has Abigail on the side now.
Yeah, demons can be persuasive, can't they?
I guess demons are really manipulative, huh? So Maggie, Mel, and Harry, they go after the person who has the artifact. They find out it's Ray, who is Mel and Maggie's dad. And you know what? I kind of liked him as a character. He actually was pretty sympathetic. And it reminds me of another thing that I'm going to talk about later on, a video game that I'm playing that kind of had a character with a similar storyline. But he stayed away because he had people after him. He was kind of pitched as like a gambling addict, but it was really that he was selling ancient artifacts, and he has people after him. And this person that was after him turned out to be a Fury, because the artifact that he stole is an old ancient artifact of protection, and if it's stolen, whoever stole it has a creature that comes after them. And it takes them figuring that out and trying to hide Ray away. The Fury doesn't care, like it still finds them, and they have to give the artifact back, and then the Fury goes away. It's really cool, again, because this part of the show is showing and not just telling us that if you encounter a demon, they're not necessarily the bad guy here. That Fury was there to hurt and dismember and swallow and do terrible things to whoever stole its property, which means technically the Fury is in the right here. And I'm glad that they figured that out. Not that anybody kind of paid as much attention to it as I just did, but I'm glad that they figured out that they're like, oh, we don't have to vanquish it, we don't need to get rid of it, we just need to give it its thing back and then it will go away. And I think this is part of the continuing trend of, you know, not all demons are the worst ever, and maybe we need to try and exist within the world of witches and demons without having it to be witches versus demons. While they were off doing stuff with Ray, Macy actually got to do Maggie's job, which probably is a fireable offense, because why is she doing Maggie's job? She don't work there.
My name is Macy, and I want to welcome you to Safe Space Seattle.
And nobody called Macy out on the fact that she does not work there and is not qualified to do tours and all of that stuff. I mean, and it's not as if she was the only person there. Like, any other employee should have come up to Macy and been like, why? Wait, what? Why are you doing the tour? Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but she stays behind and she ends up running into the new owner of Safe Space, Julian Shea. And I actually really like this actor. I've seen him in like a ton of things. He's kind of like that actor who is just on a million things. He's really good though. I like him in here. He plays a pretty good kind of pompous millionaire kind of guy, but he comes off as more humble. He's not like, I'm rich and I'm better. He's like, I'm rich and I'm going to try and make the world a better place. Now, this is the cool thing, is that he announces that he is going to do subterranean gardens starting at Safe Space.
Getting ahead of an impending global food crisis by building urban farmland underground.
And I loved that idea. First off, that is a really cool idea that the writers came up with for him to be pursuing. And I don't know, maybe it might be something that the government will be like, hey, maybe we should do something like that. And they'll be like, where did you get this idea that we're going to pass legislation on? Oh, well, I got it from an episode of Charmed. That'll be funny. But of course, excavating all of that is going to get rid of their secret hideout. So Macy starts approaching him, asks him out to dinner, and is going to use a persuasion potion on him to try and get him to not do that. But it turns out that just talking to people is the better way to do it, and you don't need magic to solve every issue, which I loved. Again, I think that they're learning important, valuable, super good lessons in these episodes. Macy ends up just saying the right thing, and he's like, hey, you're right. Maybe we'll have an extra person come out and survey the thing, and we want to make sure that we do it right. And I'm like, you know what? That's wonderful. And there's definitely some chemistry between these two. I'm interested to see what happens with that, since most of the episode was spent with her kind of scowling at Harry. Maybe now that there's maybe somebody else that she might be a little bit interested in, we can kind of get past Hasey. I think Hasey may not be a thing going forward. It might be a Juicy, which is Julian and Macy. So maybe it'll be Juicy, which is, it's a little sexier. But oh my gosh, it all culminates with Jordan. Jordan, who has been a really cool guy. He's still sticking around. He's like, I don't really remember anything that happened from when your boyfriend attacked, but I'm going to teach you to defend yourself. So he's teaching Maggie some self-defense things. He's also using his important study time to try and research legal ways that Maggie can protect herself.
Jordan, why are you getting sucked into her drama?
He is just so invested in her that it's interesting that he had never done an internet search on her before, so he looks her up and finds out, oh, she's dead, and he's like, I think I want to approach her about this. So he follows her, he sees her going back into the boiler room, and he follows her back there, and she's gone, and he's like, wait, what? And I'm like, ooh, okay, so now he's gonna start getting really, really investigative, and I like that. That's what I had said Kat could have done since she was a medium and she was kind of already a part of that world. But I'm good with Jordan doing it too. And he's not even doing it to be like an ass about it. He's doing it because he's like, he cares about her, and he's just gonna start finding stuff out that he probably shouldn't know. And it's all gonna end up coming back to his curse, which I'm excited to see more about. So anyway, I think as a whole, this episode was highly successful. You can tell that it's setting up a lot of things. It's the first episode back, but oh my gosh, it was super good. I thoroughly enjoyed myself watching this episode, and I feel like it kind of washed away some of the concerns that I had in the first 8 episodes. I feel like they're going in a good direction with almost all of the characters, so I think this is going to be great. But let me know what you guys all think about episode 9 of the second season of the Charmed Reboot. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at @TheTurnoutUSAA, and hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. And if you want to check out that conversation I had with Kristen Maldonado, another great Charmed reviewer here on YouTube, go ahead and hit this link right here, and it'll take you right to it. It was an amazing conversation that I had with her. Otherwise, I've been your host, Aloy. This has been The Turnout. Thanks for showing up.